Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are getting started for round two of the PSS4 Week 6. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth by Michael Flores. How's it going, Michael?
Going great. Anytime I get to watch two of the greatest pre-modern players in the world who aren't named Flint Espel battle, it is a treat. Both of these cats made top 8 of the North American Pre-Modern Championship. Well, actually, the Atog Lord didn't make top 8. He made top 2. Super good play. These are the two players I was most scared of coming into this tournament. It's going to be a treat to watch them battle.
Yeah, Aaron Dix and Rich Shay, they've been important names in the pre-modern community, and it's not a surprise that they're doing well. Aaron's sitting at 5-0, and Rich is at 3-2. So I think Rich was talking about that he feels that he needs to win one of the next 2 weeks to kind of lock that spot up in the top four, while Aaron is in a comfortable spot where I think he could lose the next two and he's still fine. But yeah, he's gonna do his best just to win all the matches, just never lose. That's a fine strategy.
That's a very good strategy. So, what did the ATOG Lord ban of Mr. Dix this week?
Let me bring that up. All right. So Aaron's 3 decks are Zombies, Sly, and Fluctuator. The Fluctuator deck has been banned for Aaron.
Fluctuator was banned?
Yes.
Weird. Wait. So he has a Enlightened Tutor Engine deck and Parfait deck, and I guess he just don't play the red deck. That comes up. Fluctuator. That's a weird ban to me. But okay, so what did Aaron ban?
Aaron banned the blue white tide deck out of Rich, while his other options are Sly and Parfait Oath. So I think Aaron's idea was like if the Fluctuator deck goes unbanned, then he has a really good matchup against Sly or the Parfait Oath. I think that was the thought, that maybe he was going to sneak it by.
That's inexplicable to me. Both of his other two decks are so good against the blue-white deck.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. The dude's got some sort of 15-dimensional chess. All right, what is this? Rock, paper, scissors? Is that a striped tiger?
Yeah, players can't see, but right now the players are determining who's going first, and Rich has the unglued rock paper scissors with the rock lobster, paper tiger, and scissors lizard.
So do you know what these players are playing?
I do, but you do not. So do you want to make a prediction? Otherwise, we could just go to the right of the decks if that's what you want to do.
Look, man, I would just go to the match. Let's not even explain anything.
All right, let's just jump down the match. Then.
Go. I just want to see battle.
All right, let's jump down to the match. If you want to let our players know that we can get started, then everyone will see. So, were you able to see who had won that rock paper scissors? Do you know who's on the play?
I thought you said the Atogler was on the play.
Oh, did I? I don't remember saying that, but I was just saying how he is the one. He was the one who has the cards. He's the one who.
That's my imagination.
Because I know I wasn't paying attention when they were doing the rock paper scissors. So.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Because it looks like Aaron's going to 6.
Okay. Well, chat is able to see what the decks are because they're looking at the overlay. So I have that up there, but Mike, you might be in the dark. We'll keep it suspenseful for you.
If I were Aaron, I would pick mono red. If I were the ATOG Lord, I would pick Parfait, which I think that match can go either way. How did I go?
You got it correctly. That's the way it went. I know Rich. Part of his decision, I know he was saying that he has. I think this deck's been banned every time, or maybe the time it wasn't banned, it was just not in a good position. So he was very excited to be able to play his kind of his pet deck. So
these are the decks that they each made the North American Pre-Modern Championship top 8 or top 2 with. So this is a match that could have been, but wasn't. We're going to have it today, week 6 of the PSS4.
Yeah, so I mean, I have not played with or against the Parfait Oath that much, even though I think it's might be the strongest deck in the format right now. But from what I heard, the Sly deck is at a disadvantage. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. But I think a lot of the times it's kind of you could say you have a good Sly deck or Sly matchup, and sometimes things just don't work out. The red deck's just very consistent, powerful, and relentless. So we'll see how it goes.
I think a big part of the value. Okay, looks like Enlightened Tutor versus Grim
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 Lavamancer. Yeah.
Lavamancer. I almost said Grim Monolith.
Yeah.
So Enlightened Tutor, what's that getting?
Getting an Oath
Oath
of
of
Druids.
Druids. Yeah, so this is an interesting opener. So cool thing about Grim Lavamancer is he can kill himself. Maybe not in this situation. This is going to be like terrible for Aaron. Aaron's down a card to begin with. He's going to have to open on bolting himself.
Yeah, if Aaron has fetch land, which he probably doesn't because he probably would have led with it. But if you have like fetch land, bolt your opponent, and then there's 2 cards in the graveyard, the Grim Lavamancer can shoot itself. Otherwise, he might have to get rid of his own creature, which is obviously not ideal, but not the end of the world. If you get
way better than flipping Ancestors Chosen, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but Sly is one of the aggressive decks that actually can play around Oath better than most. So it's not something you would prefer to do most of the time, but it is an option.
So, but if the Atog Lord went for Oath on turn 1 instead of Ivory Tower, it tells you something about his likelihood of winning this game. That's the Ivory Tower is such an unbeatable card with
land tax
land tax in this matchup, and he didn't go for it, which leads me to believe he's got some other sweetness going on.
Yeah, that is the card that I was thinking of when I saw the Enlightened Tutor, that the Ivory Tower would be in. So we did see an Incinerate on his own Grim Lavamancer. Did the Lavamancer not attack first?
It looks like you're right. It looks like it did not attack first. Is that a mental slip on the part of perennial top 8 machine Aaron Dix?
Yeah, I can't think of a reason otherwise. I guess you just really don't want him to Oath. So,
all right. So I mean, he's probably going to send 6 here, right?
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Wall Lightning. I mean, there still is potential for Swords of Polishers, but it's pretty easy for Rich to leave up like 1 mana for the rest of the game.
What are you going to do, right? Like, he's going to have land tax online no matter what you do, right? So there's Undiscovered Paradise. You could just tap for nothing, return it to hand, set up for the land tax. That's unstoppable right now. I think you just get your 6 in and cross your fingers. Life totals are... Do we have life totals?
Yes. Aaron's at 18, and then Rich is at 20 still.
All right, so I think I would set 6. Oh, Cursed Scroll is thoroughly unimpressive in this matchup. It's pretty bad, actually.
Yeah, it's certainly not the best. It's very, like, there's a lot of ways. Like, 2 damage a turn, unless they're just at a very low life total, like, chipping away is not really the way to do it.
Yeah, but there's also, like, every freaking Aura of Silence type card. It just makes the card, like, so clunky.
Yeah, I guess on the bright side, it is a recurring source of damage that's not a creature, but the problem is there's 3 cards in Aaron's hand, and he's probably not going to want to cast like a Jackal Pup or a Grim Lavamancer if that's what he's drawing. So
maybe Aaron is so confident that he's just spotting the Atog Lord a game. I think like that's the only thing I can explain this with.
Yeah, maybe he's saying that he's like, I like my matchups against Rich, and he wants him in the top 4 so that he can play him. Some next level thinking.
I mean, what do I know? Wait, was another Enlightened Tutor cast?
Yes.
I mean, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, if you're just getting...
Cast.
Was he just getting Zurin Orb?
Zurin Orb?
Okay. Is there not an Ivory Tower in his main? Maybe...
I think maybe
we're in a different
Ivory Tower in his deck, because that's how he beat the Devourer deck in top 4 in LobsterCon.
Yeah, I know he's made some adjustments.
I haven't even looked at Manos decks this week, so I probably should look at those. One of them's a red deck that has a main deck, Phyrexian Furnace. I know
there is an Ivory Tower.
That's it. That's just game.
But yeah, there is an Ivory Tower in Rich's main. But yeah, so. Too much for the red deck to handle, and
I mean, that was
Parfait. Quickly up a game.
Slizzotter.
Yes. All right, we'll jump over the decks. We'll see if sideboarding changes anything here.
I mean, if you're Aaron Dix, you're probably going to want to remove Jackal Pup. I'm okay with leaving Grim Lavamancer. It can kill itself. The weakest burn card is Lava Dart. Curse Scroll's pretty bad. So that's maybe 7-ish cards you want to take out. Maybe not. How do you feel about Overload in this matchup? It's a card you probably want, right?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is just that there are cards that you kind of want to take out. I mean, I'm usually not very high on bringing in Overload against cards that like I usually just want it just against like Dreadnoughts, and like
I
if
mean,
it's, but here I think like you have enough cards that you can dilute your game plan, and getting a card like Scroll Rack or maybe like a Mox Diamond I think is fine.
I could not snap Overload a tower faster. I
Okay,
disagree with
that's
you.
that's fair. All right,
So, so I think Overload, Winter Orb, and Sulfuric Vortex, those 4 cards for Jackal Pups is what I'm predicting. Tormod's Crypt is, I don't know. It actually has interesting text. It can mess with Rich's ability to win, right? So a weird line is to let him get the Ancestors Chosen and then like kind of nuke the graveyard and make him try to beat you with a 4/4.
okay,
It's actually not the worst.
not a
But
strategy I thought, but I like it is. I think it is valid. It's an angle that you can
I,
take.
yeah, like I don't know. I probably wouldn't want to try that, but it's a thing you can do. Circle Protection Red is for sure coming in for the Atog Lord. Blue Elemental Blast. What do you think about that? Do you think that's coming in?
Yes,
If it comes in, then he can't tutor for it. That's what the reason I'm asking.
sure.
Phantom Neshoba, I think, is coming in. Probably he has Shard Phoenix as his second creature, right?
Yeah, Shard Phoenix and Ancestor's Chosen are the main deck
Yeah,
ones.
I think we're gonna see Phantom Neshoba. Um, and that's about it. I think you just swap Shard Phoenix for
I mean, you
for
probably take out Zur's Weirding, right? Like this is.
yeah, I think Zur's Wording. Actually, maybe you don't if you're Rich Shay. The dude loves Zur's Wording.
I mean,
He
there are
loves
situations
Zur's
where you
Wording.
can just lock them out even against the burn deck, but I don't know if everything is going to go so smoothly as it did last game.
I kind of like taking out Zur's Wording. I kind of like taking out one Armageddon
Okay.
for Circle of Protection Red. Those guys are kind of enemies, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I have a Circle of Protection Red. Blow up all the lands. No one will have lands, including
Hopefully
me.
you have a Mox Diamond, but
Yeah, I think I would take out Armageddon and side in Circle Protection Red and Phantom Neshoba. I would probably take out Shard Phoenix. Like flipping Shard Phoenix into a card advantageous situation is one of the main ways this deck can lose. Like, oh, I got a sweet 2-for-1.
are you
Dead.
are you interested in bringing like the Four Swords just for like against like ball
Oh yeah,
lightnings?
for sure.
So
For sure. Maybe take out both Armageddons.
okay.
And like they're pretty bad against a Fire Blast deck, right? Also, outside of Fire Blast, Aaron's operating mana requirements are like 2 to 3 land. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Are they both mulliganing?
I've not been paying
Or is
attention.
nobody mulliganed?
Uh, I do want to thank B Thoyer for gifted subs. He's gifted 2 subs. I feel like every week he's been generous and gifted some subs to people. So thank you for that support.
Explain that. I don't know what that means.
So subscriptions in Twitch is like a way of thanking the streamer, and part of the money goes to Twitch and part of it goes to the streamer. And not only you can just like buy a subscription, but you can also gift them to other people. So it's just like them giving a subscription. And what subscriptions do, like the benefits for someone with a subscription is for a month you don't have to view ads on that channel, and then you also get like extra perks, like you get different emotes or that you can use. Like there's I'll list some of them.
But it's beneficial to you as the person, the goat, let's say, rather than person on the other end of that stream, right? Like that you get benefit from having these subscriptions because then people know when you're online and they come watch your stream more.
Yeah, and there's a financial incentive as well. So
sick. All right. It looks like the Atog Lord is mulliganed.
okay. So he's gonna look at a new hand, but yeah, I mean the land tax decks usually do pretty well at mulliganing. So
yeah, they're among the best decks at mulliganing, as opposed to Fluctuator, which is one of the worst decks I've ever mulliganed with in my life. So bad. Okay, first turn, Wooded Foothills. Ow! Basic mount, foil basic mountain. It looks like. And okay, so Aaron Dix is a pretty blinged out red deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess like the guy spends his whole life with this red deck and wants to bling it out. What's better? Should I buy um the eighth Wooded Foothills, original Wooded Foothills, like by $80 or something, or should I just buy an entire new red deck of new bordered cards, like Battle of Baldur's Gate Lightning Bolts,
I mean, that would.
like hideous freaking ball lightnings, the jackal pup that looks like a starved puppy, right? Like a starved wolf, you know?
Are you doing this to play so that like more people can play like against you, so you can play slime mirrors and you can like loan people a deck? Or are you playing this just
I'm
to?
like thinking ahead. Like I'm thinking ahead to PSS 5 and like
Uh,
what Mano has to say about the thing that I have in front of me.
like
Like
I
I want people's eyes to bleed.
okay.
That's really what I'm thinking.
See, I don't have a problem with people playing like modern cards in pre-modern. Like I do love how like the old cards look, but like you could play modern cards. It doesn't really bother me. So I don't know. Do what you want.
I'm asking, and you know, you're a one of. There are only two princes of pre-modern, and you're one of them. Thanks for the worthless feedback.
I'll say this: it always bothers me if I were to have like of two different arts of a card. So here, get your last Wooded Foothills in the
All right.
onslaught.
So what's happened so far? Aaron Dix has apparently missed multiple land drops,
Mhm.
so is in desperate straits. Or maybe he just didn't play an additional land into that land tax. Double Mog Fanatic, one of them was attempted to be hit by Sword Supply Shards. I assume he responded by nugging the Atog Lord.
Yeah, it's in the graveyard, and yeah, and Rich's life total went down. So
This is no way to win a game.
I mean,
Attacking for one.
yeah. Sometimes it's something you can do. I mean, like if nothing progresses from Rich's perspective, like a 1/1 will get him lower,
Well,
where
yeah,
the burn spells actually do something. But
I'm just saying this is no way to win a game.
yeah, I mean, like two Mog Fanax in play is a lot better than one. I think.
It's about twice as good.
Yeah,
Approximately.
quick maths there.
All right.
So is Rich gonna play a second mana source? I mean, in the form of a land.
Probably
I guess
not.
if
I
he has.
think- I mean, like if your opponent is literally just attempting to clock you like 1 point at a time for like 19 consecutive swings, I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay. Okay, I didn't even finish the sentence and I'm already wrong. Scroll Rack is in play alongside Zurin Orb. This is Terabad for Aaron. Aaron, I think, basically just has to play lands at this point. I think like, oh my god, I don't even. How do you beat the Zurin Orb? I guess if he has Overload here, he's in okay position.
I mean, if you
But
could
there's just no way he's gonna. I mean, that's like an anti-fire blast just sitting there. If he doesn't deal with it this turn, it's probably like 12 life we're looking at before he packs it in.
Okay, so lightning bolt was pointed at Rich. Was it a second one? He's also at 13. Did I miss some extra damage?
I mean, the graveyard appears to be a lightning bolt and a Mog Fanatic. So three, what's that, 7 in? Maybe he just attacked him 4 times.
Yeah, maybe it hadn't been updated, but yeah, I thought the life total was a little different. But Rich still at a comfortable life total and with access to Zurin Orb. Now he's adding Aura Silence. This will like preemptively answer a Sulfuric Vortex, which I feel like is the only card that like really matters right now. So Shock is being deployed. Rich is down to 10. And Aaron's still at 1 land and just a Mog Fanatic, so
If you're a fan of Aaron Dix, you're not a fan of how this game is going.
yeah,
I could tell you that.
things do not look good. He does have a second land, but it kind of always feel that like things are kind of locked up, like with
that Aura of Silence is like stepping on a nail, right? Like his plan there was supposed to be like Sulfuric Vortex. It's going to cost 5. He's casting Enlightened Tutor. There's a Zurin Orb in play. If Aaron doesn't already have an Overload, he is buried at this point. There's just no way to win.
I don't even know like what card you need to get here. Like not need to get like
Tower.
Tower. You could get. Can we get Sewers weirding? Circle protection red. All right,
Oh, circle protection red.
that one's good too.
I'd rather have tower. Circle protection red requires all that mana to operate. Like he could literally force Aaron into blowing up his entire board just to prevent being annihilated by tower if he got tower. Maybe he's so rich, Shay, that he just has it all. So why is 3 mana being tapped?
I don't know. Oh, thank you, chat, for reminding me. Okay, so it must be just on the scene that like I have the life totals backwards on stream. My notes are backwards, so I'll have to fix that in a different time.
This will come up in your performance review, Mike.
Yes.
Sorry.
I do like people had mentioned it last week, and I was so confused because I'm like, I feel like I'm doing it right, but no, I see what the problem is now.
All right. I mean, he's gonna. Presumably, he's gonna brain for 6 here. It's just not anything. Like that Zern Orb is just gonna counter all goodness out of Aaron Dix. Who's the good guy in this matchup? Would you maintain that Parfait is the good guy?
It is a fine line, I feel like. I don't know.
It's not a fine line to me.
No.
No, one side is heroes, one side is villains.
I would argue Sly is the hero in this matchup.
I like the red deck. I don't know why you keep calling it Sly. While Aaron is while the Atog Lord is tapped out, you could just get him with a Fire Blast, and then it also puts him in a tough spot with land tax. But it's bad. It's bad. All right, he's gaining 2 more. So 7 countered by 4. Looks like he's going to take net 3. He's going to take net 3 and untap with Circle Protection red in play.
Yeah, and there's still a Zern Orb that like will help us pad his life total over the turns.
I mean, the land taxing here is. Can I use the word Terabad? Is that kosher? All right.
Is that the accurate? Is that the adjective? That...
I would say Terabad, yeah. So the death knell is going to be like Mox Diamond, right? Like if Rich has Mox Diamond, he can deploy 2 sources of mana, which is going to counter a lot of damage.
Yeah,
gotta say. Oh wait, you know what card Aaron Dix has in his deck that we didn't talk about that we probably should have? Anarchy.
I don't think he does have it in his list.
He definitely has it in his list. 1,000,000%.
I think you're thinking of a different tournament. I think you're thinking of the version he played overseas.
You're right. That's why I didn't talk about it.
In the European Championship, he does not have access to an.
He does not. No wonder we didn't talk about it. It's not in his list.
No.
Why did I think he had Anarchy? Oh, he cast it. He cast it in Europe.
Yeah.
So
yeah. He had tried it out in Europe. So
because I was like, man, Anarchy would be sweet here. That would be amazing. Yeah. He said no Anarchy. Just tap a land. Wait, what happened there?
A Source of Plowshares.
Source of Plowshares. Okay.
And Rich takes the 1 damage since the Circle Protection, I think, has more value to leave the mana up to prevent a bigger burn spell than the 1 damage. I mean, is there ever a sequence where like Eric can have enough burn spells? Like if he had 3 burn spells here.
I mean, what's Rich's life total?
He's at 2.
I mean, so he's at 6, right? And then he's at 10. It's basically at 10.
So the first burn spell
currently in.
The first lethal burn spell would be prevented. He could gain and then 4 life from there. But yeah, he's kind of like at. If Aaron had like Bolt, Fire Blast.
If he has 3 1 mana burns, 3 1 or 0 mana burn spells, right? So if he goes like Bolt, Or no, actually, probably open up with shock in my imagination. So shock is like, all right, circle it in response, bolt, eat it with Zern Orb in response, bolt again, eat it with Zern Orb again, fire blast. He has the game, but he has to kind of do it here.
He's gonna point a bolt.
I mean, like, Rich has to do something, right? He can't not respond to that. He's dead.
Yeah, I guess the decision is whether he like if you. I'm trying to think if the timing, like the sacking to the Zern Orb, is better now as compared to preventing with the circle. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like if he's worried about fire blast, it doesn't matter. Any of them are lethal. So
Yeah.
like, unless it's a 1 damage burn spell, like he thinks he's gonna get darted. That's the only thing. What is
Oh, so
this?
he did gain 2, and then he also prevented it.
Incinerate.
Now he's at 1, and a barbarian ring, but there's not. Oh, okay.
Wait, ring would have been sick.
There's still a card in Aaron's hand, but oh, I guess are they discussing timing? Because like Rich still, if he had priority, he could have sacked his last land. Uh, so Rich is at 1, and so the barbarian ring is a way to get around circle protection red.
Well, yeah. So 1 is 3, right?
Yes, because yeah, and it will be 2 more life
I'm sorry.
because
1 is 5.
yeah,
Not 3. I apologize. So, yeah, I don't see Aaron getting out of this.
I mean he's definitely very close. I'd say that much.
Yeah, I mean
But
that's the thing about being the good guys. You have limited resources, right? You don't have infinity resources. Like every turn that goes by, Rich basically gains like 6 life, right? Like that's he's got
yeah,
like some sort of super weird fountain of youth that doesn't require any mana to be tapped. All right, W in. I mean, if he's tapping mana, what if it's like for a tower?
this is why Sly needs Ankh of Mishra. That
Yeah,
is
I love the idea of playing artifact based sideboard. It's like there's so much stuff that and it's just pretty good.
Ankhs and Black Vices, which do actually work well in conjunction. It is a little bit awkward having like Ankh of Mishra if you need to fetch sometimes, but
Yeah, but think about how good it is against the rock.
yeah,
Like those they can take an extra 2 points of damage to play their City of Brass.
yeah.
How do you feel about that? Oh, Mox Diamond. Unbeatable. All right, what do we got here? See, like if it costs 3, it's not good. Ooh, Curse Scroll, 3 floating.
No. It's just because because it's
Oh no, you're right.
because
Because of
the
aura.
yeah.
Because of aura. Yeah. This is far too slow. It's amazing in that he has a source of damage.
A
And the other-
colorless source of damage, recurring source of damage.
yeah, but it's not nearly. Like, it's just terrible. Like Lantax Zurin Orb is so much more powerful than that. All right, Lantax again. This is a slaughtering. It's not just that Rich is winning. It's like he's winning on like so many different dimensions, right? Like how many times he touches his library. I consider that like the Kai Buddha / John Finkel dimension. So like one of the theories we had was that Kai and John weren't that much better than everybody else to begin with. They just like played with brainstorm and impulse, and other people didn't. And there's like, oh man, these guys always draw whatever they need. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I've heard describing of like zone changes as a metric of doing stuff. Like Bazaar of Baghdad would be like drawing 2 cards and discarding 3, which in like the powerful formats, that's like 5
It's
zone
like 5
changes.
zone changes. Yeah. So like he's got like this zone changing action. The whole library touching thing I think is a real thing. It's like hustle stats in basketball, right? Like who takes charges, or like nobody records like pass deflections, things like that. But they're clearly coming together to negatively impact the opposing team. Was
Yeah,
it?
it looks like Aaron has thrown in the towel. He shows a hand of 2 lands, and then Rich is dumping his hand of. I see a blue elemental blast, but a plethora of resources from Rich. So
You wanna unmute them?
yes, we can do that.
All right, let's do that.
Games.
Oh yeah. Well, like if I'd have had the Fire Blast,
I would have been dead.
if you didn't have the swords for the Mog Fanatic,
Yep.
you would have been dead.
Yeah.
Like there were so many times where it's like, it's going to be that last 1 point, right?
It literally was the last point of damage. Yeah.
Repeatedly. Like,
Right. When
there were-
you played the Barbarian Ring and just confidently tapped it, I thought, man, he's got a bolt. I'm just dead.
no, I wish. No, I didn't have a bolt. I had scroll.
Right,
I'm
but you
like,
couldn't cast
yeah, I
because of
couldn't
the
cast
aura.
it because of the
Yeah.
aura. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, that stupid aura. Like there were so many things that had to go. It just a hair of variance either way, and totally different game.
Agreed.
Awesome.
That was unbelievably close, and literally came down to if you could deal me like 1 point here or 2 points there, that would have made all the difference.
Mhm.
Yeah. Should we unmute Mike and Mike?
Yeah, I've done that.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
So is this a matchup that both of you have played a lot? I presume, like given that these are some top decks, that they are something that you're prepared for. Is this how would the matchup normally play out? Is this different, or is it just always like the decks that or the games that the red deck wins? It kind of squeaks out a win.
Yeah, it's not auto loss for slide, but this is very favorable for Parthay. I mean, I built this version of it specifically because I was tired of losing to slide with blue white control.
Yeah. This is my new least favorite matchup in Premodern.
What was your previous least favorite matchup?
Stifle Knot.
Yeah, I think Stifle Knot's better because you can, if you really want to, you can bring in blue blasts. And,
Yeah, exactly.
There's this matchup. I think the scariest card is Anarchy, which was not in your sideboard.
Yeah. And because of this deck, I've actually started packing Anarchy, which
Awesome.
before when I was just playing around Cop Red, I didn't think Anarchy was good enough. I think you can play around Cop Red easily enough.
Can you like write maybe a guidebook about how to play around Cop Red easy enough? Because I have found that card to be very effective when I play Red.
Understanding Cop Red, yeah.
Yeah.
What happens is I'm winning, and then some idiot plays Cop Red, and I'm like, all right, that's it.
Oh no, I think that the instant speed, it really, really plays around it nicely. You can just overload them. The article that you wrote about slow playing the beatdown, I think, is a perfect example because you can hold a bunch of instant speeds in your hand until the right time to burn them. So I think that you wait for them. You know, there were times where Rich needed to tap his mana. He needed to get that scroll rack. It was the engine was finally coming online, and he had to start activating. And if you can just, all right, well, in response, take 3. Okay, you can block that one. Take 3, take 4. You know.
Yeah, I mean, from my end, you know, we spent a little while with you chipping away at my life total with those goblins, and then I tapped out for the scroll rack because I had the Zurin orb, and then what to my next play? I thought that the thing that would make the most sense would be for me to Cunning Wish and find a COP red, but it was really close because I could have also opted for an Ivory Tower.
Yeah, we thought you were going to go
Yeah.
for Tower in both games much earlier, and then you never went for Tower. You went for Zern Orb the one time.
So game 1, I went for the Zuran Orb over the Tower because I wanted to make sure that I could force land tax in case he had a
Yeah.
Fire Blast.
And
Game
I did in game 1, and I was, if you hadn't had the Zern Orb, then I totally would have.
Right. So that's why I got the Zuran Orb over Tower. And then game 2, my thought was that you do have some ways to get rid of artifacts, and I'm going to be really dependent on whatever card I'm getting here. And because you don't have Anarchy, but you do have ways to get rid of artifacts, I ended up getting the COP red with the logic that if he doesn't kill me on his next turn, I can probably lock this up. And you almost killed me on your next turn. You did have the Incinerate, you did have the Ball Lightning, and you just didn't have the Fire Blast.
Right. Yeah, that Fire Blast. If that had been a Fire Blast, or if
that would have been exactly lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, there were so many times game 2 that were almost lethal. Again and again, like, man, if this were 5 other different cards, or if he didn't have that card, or it was a rough one.
Aaron, did you think about bringing in Winter Orb? I thought you might bring in Winter Orb instead of that Lava Dart. Is it just too bad against Mox Diamond?
It's too bad against Mox Diamond is really it. If he has a Mox Diamond and I play a Winter Orb, it feels like the worst thing ever.
I understand, but isn't that normally one of your main anti-circle cards?
Yeah, that is a big play against Circle.
So that's the reason
Circle really didn't concern me here. That wasn't what I thought was going to win or lose the match. It was going to be the activations on land tax. So I was trying to play around activating land tax, and I was trying to play around giving him too much value out of the Zern Orb.
I think that makes sense. I mean, Winter Orb, I'm not cutting any of my artifact removal, so and Winter Orb can hurt you too, especially if you get Scroll going, because Scroll is a constant source of damage that doesn't get hit by Oath, it doesn't get hit by COP, right? It's actually a scary card. So I have to actually have an answer for it.
Yep. Yeah, you had. I mean, that's what that deck does. Have the answers when you need them,
right?
Or go digging for them if you need to, and you had the answers when you needed them.
I did. I boarded out Zer's Weirding because you don't have Anarchy. If you do have Anarchy in your 75, I'm sort of forced to leave in Zer's Weirding.
Yeah, we thought about that. Hoyp thought you might take out Zer's Weirding. I thought that you were very married to Zer's Weirding.
So
you wouldn't take it out.
Is there something in your opponent's deck that he could draw that would be abysmally bad for you? And if the answer is yes, you have to leave it in. In this case, Anarchy would be that horrible nightmare card. If Aaron had Anarchy in his deck, I probably get Ivory Tower instead of Copper Red there. I sideboard differently. And this is part of what having open deck lists is. You can really play around all of your opponent's cards and really think about what are the outs that I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah. I think Anarchy still is pretty rough to play against you because I'm going to have to turn on land tax to do it.
True.
It still doesn't feel great having played it recently. There's nothing that feels great to solve this matchup yet.
What about like Goblin Tinkerers, Keldon? Because Keldon Marauder's legal, right?
I think I'd probably play the
That's
Monkey.
From Future Sight, right?
Do you think the Planar Chaos? Or are you talking about the 2-mana 3/3?
There's one from Urza's.
The 4/1, the 4/1 with Echo, Keldon Vandal, I think.
Kendall Vandal, because you can also let that die.
Right? And that's important.
I just want to some things that make it so you're not demolished on. Like the problem is every one of the Parfait permanents is it's like every single one is just like a meteor strike.
Right.
This one draws 3 cards a turn.
But every creature potentially turns on Oath. I mean, I understand the Vandal has Echo, but still, it's got to sit around for a turn potentially.
If I have Oath out and you Vandal,
right?
You can't do that.
I can't play Vandal with an oath on the board.
Right.
But I can't play Mox Monkey to deal with it. I can't play Tinkerer to deal with it. I can't.
Right. I'm boarding out my Phoenix, so post board, if I oath, I'm getting either a 7/7 lifelink type thing or Ancestors Chosen, who'll just give me 20 life on the spot.
Yeah,
So-
I can't let you oath.
One novel thought was, I didn't think you would actually do this, but it didn't seem like the worst to me, given how, like, because Rich just wins on so many different dimensions simultaneously once his engine is online.
Yep.
That, like, you might bring in Tormod's Crypt, let him oath, and then try to beat you with an Ancestor's Chosen, right? Like, nah, I'm just gonna now nug you for like 40 cards or whatever. Let's see how this goes. Right?
Oh, I brought in Stifle, actually.
Oh, wow.
I
It's like
was
15th
thinking,
dimensional chess.
yeah, I was thinking about how this could play out. I actually brought in Stifle and Ray of Revelation because those are the two cards that he has. Those answer the two cards that he has that can stop my oath from working. So if he decides to keep in the Jackal Pups and just play into oath, I can either try to stifle the crypt or oath into a Ray of Revelation and then knock out the vortex in response to the ancestor trigger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic Rich Shay, man.
Yeah.
I listened to that interview that you
I-
did. I'm like, this is too many. This is too many facts.
I will say this matchup scares me, not because of the decks themselves. It scares me because of the people that are able to play this deck really well. I have lost recently to Rich on this deck, and I've lost to Mark Eric Vogt on this deck. Two of the best players in pre-modern piloting a deck that is very scary when played well. So this isn't something that anybody's just going to pick up and roll.
Well, thank you.
It is a solid deck in the hands of the right player, and Rich, you're definitely the right player.
I appreciate
So you're going on record and saying, like, a doofus who puts away like $4,000 in Mox Diamonds is no threat to Aaron Dix.
I think I win game 2 against most people playing that same game.
Most people and all doofuses, you're saying.
Yeah, most people and all doofuses.
Okay,
Most people playing that second game, I think I can pull that one out.
No, I appreciate it. This deck gives you a ton of choices. I was talking about how Christian's build of the Rock gives you a lot of choices with that build, and he's built it so he can make a lot more decisions than the average Rock deck at any given point in time. And that's part of why I think Parfait is really fun. You're like constantly making decisions of, do I tutor? What do I tutor for? Do I scroll rack? How many cards do I put back? What order do I put my scroll rack cards in? And it's a deck that, because of all the tutoring and all the card draw, you really maximize every deck building choice you make.
All right, I'm just looking at the chat. Looks like people are coming in. Flint is off of work, so he's ready to jump in the booth. I think we're going to let our players go.
We're gonna give Mike a minute to set up his camera.
Yeah, we could do
All
that.
right.
That's fine. But yeah,
Good games, Rich and Aaron.
Yeah, good
Hey,
games.
thanks a
guys.
lot. Good games, Aaron.
Good games.
All right, so we will be getting things ready. We're going to have our next match. We're going to have Brian Manolakis up against Michael Flores. Flint will be jumping in the booth for our third and fourth round of the night. So we've got some more pre-modern action. Once we get our players set up and settled in, then we will be right back. So sit tight, and we will see you soon.